done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We have a large group today, a very exciting group, and we're very excited to have you here today. Welcome, everyone. Very exciting. I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves as they come in, and please keep yourselves on mute. As we kick off our webinar, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Vanessa Garrow-Peters. I'm the Director of Client Success over here at the Sponsorship Collective. In a moment, I'm going to have the panelists introduce themselves, but before I do, I'm going to have everyone familiarize themselves with the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. This is where you're going to enter in any questions you have along the way that our lovely panelists will be able to answer, and you can vote on them too. So please utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. And so now I'm going to have the panelists introduce themselves. So Chris, I will have you kick it off.
Greetings. Oh my goodness, I've been highlighted. Welcome everybody. We're going to talk about prospecting and why it's so hard. And who am I? I'm fortunate enough to get to hang out with these other really smart people for a living and geek out about sponsorship. And I run a company called the Sponsorship Collective, which if you've been receiving my harassing emails, you already know that. So I'm the guy that sends you too many emails. Far more important than who I am is Kevin and Candace. I'd love for them to introduce themselves, what they do. They do cool stuff outside of the Sponsorship Collective. They do cool stuff in the Sponsorship Collective, clients, coaches alike. And to me, what's most fascinating and the most important thing is that they have tons of experience in prospecting. And I'm still afraid to prospect. And I think they've overcome the fear. So I'll be the case study talking about how I'm afraid of everything and I struggle with everything. And Candace and Kevin will tell you the real secrets on how to get over that. Kevin, why don't you go next?
Well, I was going to be a gentleman to let Candace go next, but since you called on me, I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
We start at the very oldest and work our way down. So that's you.
Well, there's no doubt who's the youngest and the prettiest. My name is Kevin Grothy. I'm coming to you from Memphis, Tennessee. I am in the sponsorship field. I'm the executive vice president for a festival here that has been in existence since 1977. I am finishing up my 19th season with the festival. Over my tenure, we have probably generated around $35 million or so and have worked with several local, regional, and national sponsors. So we're very fortunate in that regard. I also am very fortunate enough to be a coach at the Sponsorship Collective, which I enjoy very much, to get to work with a lot of wonderful people within the organization and also our Sponsorship Collective members, which one of them is with us today. And so I will call upon Miss Candace to take it from here.
Hey, everyone. Thank you, Kevin. My name is Candace Gobert. I am the Sponsorship and Development Director at Festival International de Louisiane here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We are the largest international music and arts festival in the United States. We are also a non-ticketed free event. So sponsorship and funding is very, very, very important to what we do here as a nonprofit. We have over 300,000 people that come to our festival over the 5 days. We are a Wednesday through Sunday event. And we've been around, we're going into our 39th year. And so, and I've been with the festival, I'm going on my 10th festival here. So through the process of the Sponsorship Collective, we totally change our sponsorship protocols and format that we've been doing for 37 years to really boost what we could do in our community, because we are a community event. So we have had a lot of success, a lot of failures, but through it, it's always been a better success story than it has been a non-success story. So I'm happy to be here and answer any questions.
That's amazing.
Great. Thank you all. And now I'm going to kick it off with a question of my own. What is the scariest thing about prospecting? even though you're all very seasoned sales?
Are you asking the panelists or are you asking
Yeah,
the
I'm asking the
audience?
panelists.
Calling,
I
calling
should,
and talking to somebody is always the scariest.
yeah. So what's the scariest thing about prospecting?
Prospecting.
Getting
Yeah.
started. I
Yeah.
mean, it's once you dive in and get you a rhythm and get familiar, it's no different than going to the gym. The first time you go to the gym, you come out, your body's sore, you're not feeling all that confident. But as you continue to go to the gym day after day after day, your body doesn't hurt as much. You get in a rhythm, and all of a sudden, you start to see results. Prospecting is no different. And unfortunately, is it hard work? Yes, but it takes time and commitment to do it. So to me, it's just getting started is
Mm.
the scariest thing that I think we see most. And I always just say, dive in.
So, Kevin, how long you been doing this for?
Well, 19 years at Memphis in May and about 30 plus years overall. Yeah, obviously, sponsorship has aged me a lot more than Candace, 10 years, and she looks like she's fresh out of college.
Yeah. So you've been doing this for 30 years. And did I catch it? Did I catch it right? Executive VP sponsorship.
Yes.
So you guys are doing pretty good. And
Mhm.
and you still prospect. You still
Oh,
pick up
yeah,
the phone. Yeah. And it's never
every day.
going away. This is a forever thing. So
It's all about your funnel, right? And
yeah,
so you have to keep your funnel full. The only way to keep it full is by prospecting.
yeah. So I'm gonna share a confession, but only after Candace has a chance to comment on this. The scariest thing about prospecting. What's your take? What's your view? How do you do it despite the fear? And team, attendees team. Submit your questions. You're going to guide us to where you want to go. So ask things about what troubles you, what challenges you. If you only knew this one thing, just this one thing, it would make prospecting easier. What is that thing? What can we tell you? I promise you will almost certainly have bad news, but nevertheless, it will be honest. So Candace, share your take. What's your version of what Kevin just said?
I mean, you really just have to dive in. And when you get stuck and you get frustrated because you're getting told no, or you're not hearing back from people, go home, take a break, come back and dive back in, because there have been many times that I've just gotten all no's and I
Mm,
just get frustrated constantly, or people just don't take me seriously because I don't have a big name from a festival standpoint, or I'm not in New Orleans, a large city,
mm,
so to speak, that people think that we're not of value where when we are. And so it gets very frustrating when I'm just like, let me just talk to you about it. And when they flat out say no, it's frustrating. And so I go home, I decompress, and I'm like, we're never gonna get sponsors. And then I pick myself back up and I come into the office and I start sending my emails and prospecting again and I Superman pose all day long, all
yeah,
day long.
yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
So I was sharing with Vanessa over coffee. So Vanessa and I are in an office together here in Toronto, um, and we were talking, and I shared a story about how when I very first started in this world a long time ago. I won't say the name of the org because they don't know that I did this. Uh, I was dialing for dollars. I was cold calling. Um, I won't tell you the story about how it involved a phone book because I believe I'm fooling people and making them think I'm significantly younger than I am. And so I picked up the phone and I'm calling people in the phone book. And every time they'd answer, I hung up.
Mm.
I just had a full on panic attack and I couldn't say anything. And so I did that for a long, long time. I just called people and hung up and called people and hung up and called people and hung up until finally I could say something. So I'm not suggesting this is a tactic. It's better to just talk to people when they answer. But for me, it was like as Kevin said, the scariest thing was just like starting. And so it was almost like if you've played sports at a high level, you do drills, which are like a portion of the movement. So for me, it was just picking up the phone and calling and getting, and then eventually I would just start to talk to people. And interestingly, there's a mix of clients here and future clients. This is how we built a lot of the templates inside the Sponsorship Accelerator, and what we do with our clients is based on, like, when they answered the phone, what do I say? I'm like, I wish I had a template way back when that I could just read off of. And so this is how we built the tools. And so I kind of discovered these things as I went, as an antidote to fear and anxiety. I'm fairly introverted, and it took me a while to get used to the sales process. So the scariest part for me, I thought, was hearing no. To Candace's point, I was wrong. The scariest part is when they say, "Sure, I've got a few minutes. How can I help you?" Man, the only thing worse than prospecting not working is when it works. So for me, always the phone call, and when they pick up and tell me they have time, I immediately start to think, man, they're judging me, they're frustrated with me, I'm that annoying sales guy on the other end of the phone. So that's my tale of woe and pain. Vanessa, how are we doing for questions?
Yeah, lots of great questions. So I have a two-parter. How would you
Two-parter?
identify? Yeah.
That's just
How would
selfish.
how would you identify the right sponsors to approach? And would you prioritize local versus bigger brands?
Ooh, that's good.
Why versus?
So really, the question is, how do you know who to prospect? I think first you need to answer this question: who is my audience? Because that's going to determine the answer to the question that the person who's tuning in is asking. It's really about your audience. Who wants to connect to your audience? Who wants to engage with them? Who has similar audiences that you have? Because then they're probably going to want to engage, market to them, because they fit the ideal customer for themselves. So that's first and foremost, I would say. The more you know about your audience, the better you will be able to drill down into categories and specific sponsors. And I'm not just saying knowing, is it a male or female? What race are they? What's their age? What's their household income? Are all those things important? Absolutely. That should be your baseline.
That's table stakes.
The next level is, what do they like to do? Do they have interest, hobbies? Do they vacation? Do they travel? Do they read? Are they outdoors people? Whatever it may be, all of those things will help determine who your potential sponsors will be. And the reason I say the more you know, the better off you are, because it's almost like an onion. If you only know some very basic information, you're going to be on the outer layer of the onion. The more you know, the more you'll be able to peel layers and find more and more categories and businesses who could potentially be sponsors for your property.
Nice. You brought up audience, which immediately takes me to Candace's property, because I heard her say it's not a ticketed event. So how the heck do you figure out your audience data when you're not charging people for tickets and putting them into your database and CRM?
Before the Sponsorship Collective, we
made it up.
It was Wild West. We didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew we were all ages, all races, we knew where our audience came from. Like 80% was from Louisiana. We knew 19% were from outside and 1% from outside of the country. But with the Sponsorship Collective, I mean, I started in, I think, June or July. And by August, I was like, I have to do a survey. I have to do a survey. And so we found out a lot of information. We were correct about a lot of our demographics, like the audience and stuff like that.
Nice.
And I realized that the survey provided us, I mean, we had 2,400 people take the survey, which was huge for us. I was expecting 300. And so we got a lot of data, and I realized that there were questions that we could have asked better.
Mm.
And I like a post-event email, like survey. So I worked really hard with our marketing team to make sure that post-festival, I think the Monday or Tuesday after the event was over, we sent the survey. Did you come? Which, I'm not going to lie, I did steal some ideas from other major festivals. I'm not going to,
Don't name them because this will end up on YouTube.
yes, but like just the ideas, not the it wasn't plagiarism, but just the ideas.
Yeah.
And I sent it after, and we got a lot more detailed in the information, especially during our event, about where people were going, what people were gravitating towards. So when I started prospecting for this year, I had more information that I could give to our prospects, even our current sponsors. I was able to give more information to pivot. And
Nice.
and I mean, I think that really just, the survey really helped, especially being non-ticketed. So I work for I volunteer for other events. And the first thing I ask them when we talk about like sponsorships is, do you have a survey? Do you know who's coming to the events? And it blows my mind when they tell me no. Like, you guys don't even gather info during ticketing? And they were like, no. And I said, you guys have to, like, that is step number one. So that was the first thing I did.
What I love about this is that, like, this is all about getting over the fear and challenges around prospecting, and both Kevin and Candace, well versed in this world, they say you need more information, get more information, right? Because even the very question, who do I talk to, and should it be national or local, that's answered through your audience data. That's not for you to decide; it's for your audience to decide. Right? You don't know what products they're buying. Are they national or local? You don't know the marketing goals of your potential sponsors. So the very question points to a lack of audience data. And when you lack audience data, it creates insecurity, because you know what you're going to do is pick up the phone and say, hello, business whose exclusive role it is to make money. Can I just have some? And I promise I'll put your logo on something. That's a very weak position to take. And we already know that doesn't work. That's why you're all here. Versus being able to say, I'm going to share this with you. This is something that we share with our clients. So don't tell anybody. Versus being able to say this, right? I saw the question come up. Hey, what do I say if they answer? This is what you say. This is what I didn't say. And it took me a long time hanging up on people before I figured out I should say something. Hey, Kevin, my name's Chris. Hey, look, we're connected on LinkedIn. You mentioned you're open to a quick call. We share a common audience. Would you be open to a quick discussion to see whether or not we have some common opportunities? I run a whatever, and I work with audience A, B, or C. Recently did a survey. They love to buy your stuff. You want to talk about some ways that maybe we can help you sell more of that stuff. That's it. They say yes, schedule a discovery call, and get the heck off the phone. And go do your homework and get prepared. So it really is that simple when you've got the information, because you can't say anything to the prospect if you don't actually know whether or not you have an audience connection. So critically important to have that information and to build out those avatars or ideal customer personas, or whatever language you want to use. And as you grow your knowledge about how valuable your opportunity is to a brand, it's directly related to how much confidence you feel when you're prospecting, because you start to realize that you're the prize, not them.
Chris, I often say that you know your property, or at least, as Candace was pointing out, you should know your property, right? Your audience isn't everyone. I don't care who you are. Even Coca-Cola will tell you their audience isn't everyone, right? That's the reason why they have different brands and what have you not. But by knowing that, you should have the confidence, because you should know your property better than the prospect.
Yeah.
And that's why you should not be fearful going into prospecting. And you're not going to ask for a donation. You're looking for marketing opportunities for them to leverage the assets that you provide to make money, generate customers,
Mm.
all of which are part of sponsorships.
Yeah, that's really good. There's going to be fear forever. You're always going to feel the fear of prospecting, but your fear is your barometer. It tells you uh, uh, where you need to work on your game. What am I going to say when they answer? You don't have enough audience data. What can I do to offer them? You don't have very good activations. How will I prove return on investment? You need to do evaluation. Like, it'll point you to the things that you have to work on. But none of those things should stop you from picking up the phone and calling. It just gets easier as you get more information.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa's cooking up some more questions for us.
Yes. So when you're prospecting, do you consider how to prospect differently if they're a national brand or a local brand, or if there are different cultures?
Can we answer this with a yes or no? Is that fair?
Whatever you'd like.
I say no. And that's all.
I prospect all the same.
Yeah.
Everyone, local, national, everyone's the same. Everyone gets the same amount of effort, work.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I agree. The difference is, who do you think is going to be more likely to respond?
Yeah.
And again, you got to look at your audience. And I don't mean to beat the dead horse of the audience, but in Candace's situation, she's like 90% or 80% of the people were from the state of Louisiana. Here at our festival, Memphis in May, we will sell tickets all 50 states and several foreign countries. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're national, like the National Football League or something of that nature, or a concert series, right? I might have sales, but they're small percentages in California and Alaska and Hawaii and what have you not, right? So while we might have a national and even a regional reach, our core, I know, is between 50 miles and in. That's probably half of the audience. And then the next sphere outside of that, right, is important. And I think that determines whether you go national or local.
Yeah.
My feeling is it's start local, make those connections, and show them the value, and they can help you work up their corporate ladder. And that has been proven over and over again in our situation.
So I just want to interrupt with a quick word from our sponsor. Today's program is sponsored by none other than the Sponsorship Collective. Before we move on to give you all of the real answers, you got to stick around. You can't leave now while I'm doing my pitch. Before we give you all the real answers, I dropped a quick link there for you. The reason is that it's March, which means that we have to have a cool promotion. And so we do. But there's a promotion here for existing clients like Candace. There's many of you out there. I won't tell you what it is, but it's amazing. We'll email you afterwards. And for those of you who are considering working with us and having people like Kevin and Vanessa and Candace and myself in your corner to help you do all this incredibly painful, hard work, but we love it and we do it anyway, we have an amazing promotion for you guys too. So you just have to go ahead and click that link, book a call, and hang out with one of my team members here, and we'll tell you all about it. So we're going to send you the details afterwards, but tomorrow we have about 18 calls on the books. We are filling up fast, so book the call now. Watch for the email, and when you get the email, you're like, this doesn't sound very good, then just cancel the call. That's totally fine. And for current clients, one of the things that I hate is when a brand does like a cool promo but doesn't do anything for their existing clients. It's only for new clients. That's not us. So we have some cool stuff for our current clients who made it to minute 25. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program, Vanessa.
Okay. So we have someone that has a very specific circumstance that they crafted a really cool personalized message to sponsors, sent it off to them, hasn't gotten much of a response.
How do you know it was personalized?
They
Is
said
it because
it.
you spoke with them first? We got to know these details. Or was it what you assume based on what you hope they would like and therefore not personalized?
So they haven't gotten any feedback or any response, and they want to know, what do I do?
I remember once there was a similar question from a client. Is like, hey, I put together these custom proposals and sent them out to sponsors. I'm like, what do you mean custom? Like, we didn't speak to them first, so how could they possibly be custom? But yes, Kevin's in hot pursuit. What do you think?
Yeah. You begged the right question there. Uh, my guess would be, not having seen the message, what you want them to know is your audience will be of interest to them. That is the lead. If you were a journalist and you were to write a story and you had to figure out the lead, if you want to grab their interest, it's not about some cute, funny little saying. They're very busy individuals. It's what can you do for me? And what you can do for them is deliver an audience that they would like to engage with.
So, Candace, what do you send people? What
Well,
emails do you send?
I do the 7x7 method a lot. And I just continue to roll with it, which is part of the program. I mean, through the process, I had changed my templates up tremendously. I mean, I went from including my business case to not including my business case to having too long of an email, trying to engage and give as much information, hoping that more information would, give them more reason to respond. And then I'm told, cut it back, like just be very broad, but very straightforward about what we can do for them. So it really just depends on the person. I always include who I am. If we've connected on LinkedIn, which I've had my it's a love-hate relationship LinkedIn for me. um, so it all depends. It really just depends. I have kind of like uh I just have many different templates that I use, and it just depends on who it is.
Yeah.
But I like to stay within the same, email format, my
How many
email number
sentences is your very first email when you send it to people?
3, I think.
Three
Yeah.
sentences. Yeah.
3
Yeah,
or
I'm 3 to 4.
4. It just
Maybe
3 to
depends.
four.
Like
4.
the first sentence is like, hey, this is who I am. I'm with this property. The
Yeah.
second one is like, I see you have a niche of this, we have this audience. And then it's like, can we connect? I would love to connect. Let me know if you're like, so maybe 4 sentences.
Mm.
Just depends. And now granted, I will say I changed it. It used to be more.
Yeah, of course.
And again, but just because my email templates are small doesn't mean that I always get a response either. So I mean, but I do like to keep it short and simple. It's easier on me too, quite honestly, like not trying to come up with something new every time.
Yeah.
And
Copy
keeping
and
it
paste.
short. Mm-hmm.
You know, what I find so fascinating is that uh, when we become prospectors, we forget what it's like to be consumers. So I just dropped a couple templates there for you, for everybody. The 7x7 method is a structured process that our clients use to warm up the phone call, so that when you call, it's not as cold. It's like a lukewarm call. And there's a version of the emails that we use. And so, but what happens is people forget what it's like to be a consumer. And I guarantee you, however many people are watching this, you have never in your life read a 3,000 word cold email with a sales proposal attached. Even if the person who sent it was 100% sure it was highly personalized just for you, you still didn't read it. Because we don't have time or interest to read about the latest and greatest company who can get you on page 1 of Google, who can give you a new website, who has a great insurance product, or can help you recruit that next person. They don't work on us. But then when we turn into prospectors, we think that someone's going to care about our mission, vision, history, how long we've been in business, and every single thing we wish they would read, and then pick on page 72 of our pitch deck from the gold, silver, bronze package that nobody wants to see. When actually the way people like to be communicated with is, hey, Candace, I saw that you're with this amazing festival. We actually help festival owners reduce their security costs. Would it be worth having a quick call? And then Candace is either going to say yes, no, or talk to our security person, like talk to the person in charge of our fences. That's it, like super quick. And so the more personalized it is, before you've spoken with someone, the farther down the path of the dark path you're going. Personalized can only happen after after you've communicated. So everybody here is saying they keep it nice and simple, really short and to the point. You have a reason for reaching out because your audience data pointed you there. Kevin, what are you going to say?
I was gonna say, you know why people feel like they've got to just spill their guts right away is because they're afraid they're going to say no.
Yeah.
So if I tell them so much information, surely I'm going to convince them. And the reality of it is it's the opposite.
Yeah. You'll
And
convince
you know
them all
what?
right.
Yeah. But here's the crazy part. Don't be afraid that you get a no. But so it's okay. You're going to get no's, right? It won't matter what you write, how long it is, whatever. There's going to be a no response or a no. A no just means that you can move on and focus on somebody else. I would much rather word my email so that I get a response, positive or negative, than to receive no response at all. So then I can focus on those who want to do business with me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no is a good thing. No response is the kiss of death because you can't take them out of your pipeline and you follow up forever. And if you keep sending them 2,000 word personalized emails with proposals attached, you're going to get blacklisted and you're going to get on spam registries.
All right, so I have a question.
Ooh,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Wait.
No.
I was going to say, I also get a couple of emails too that just say you're not the right person. So that is helpful too. I keep very meticulous notes about who has responded so that I know that the next year when I go to start fresh to prospecting and start contacting people from my list, that this person did engage. Now I do ask, can you connect me with the right person? Most of the time they tell me they don't know who the right person is because they are a larger, they're international corporation. Sometimes I believe them, sometimes I don't. So I keep pushing, or like not them, but I keep pushing forward with new people. But that is something that it's not a bad thing to get told that they're not the right person, but you do know your emails are getting read and
Yeah.
they're not going to spam, because that's my biggest fear, that my emails go to spam or they're not read.
Those comments, Candace, made me reminded me of something.
Okay.
And that is, I'm thinking about this question and your response, and this person saying I'm sending a personalized email, and it hit me. If you're sending things by email expecting someone to make a purchase, you are not prospecting, you are spamming. Sending them a document to purchase from is not going to work. Proposals happen after the meeting. You're never going to sell anything that way. The point of emails is only to warm up the call. So when Candace gets a response, I'm not the right person, it's wonderful because she got any reply at all. That means prospecting worked. The point of an email is not to get someone to say, oh my God, I didn't realize you sold gold, silver, and bronze. Give me two. Never going to happen. Absolutely never going to happen. The point of the email is to say, oh, that sounds really interesting, Candace. Let me help you find the right person. That's the only point of the email. Or when Candace calls them and is like, yep, that's me. I sent you 3 emails, 7x7 method says I have to phone now. They're like, oh yeah, Candace, I've been meaning to get back to you. Thanks for following up. Right? So
it's very hard too, Chris, when they do respond and saying, can you just send me your levels?
Yeah, totally.
And every time, I mean, that happened to me this morning. And I said, hey, look, we don't do levels. But I'd love to chat with you if you had time today to talk about, the different opportunities and how we can customize it based on you. Just got off a call, and then I sent a proposal based on what, like before this call, sent a proposal after.
I love that. I love it. That's amazing. All right, Vanessa,
All right.
tell us what else.
So I'm going to rewind, and I think that we touched upon all these topics, but just so that we clear them out for everyone. How do you define prospecting? Is it pitching your company or sponsorship package? Or is it gauging if they are a good fit to support you financially?
It's interesting because I think we're all using prospecting slightly differently. I like to think of it, I call prospecting the act of research, which is identifying your suspects. Really, it's suspecting more than it's prospecting. Those leads who should want to hear from you. But the way we're using prospecting here is the act of outreach to get someone to talk to you. The pitching of your company, of your opportunity, maybe comes after a couple of discovery calls. That would be the sales process. So we're like, you kind of think of it as you're doing research based on audience data, which our brilliant panelists have articulated very well. You do your audience research, that points you to who you should talk to. Then you start the prospecting process of outreach, having phone calls, which leads you to the discovery process so that you can learn from them to put together a proposal. And then you deliver the proposal, book a meeting from a meeting, or you're invited to pitch, which either path is fine. And then you move to negotiation and contract. So we're really talking about top of funnel, the stuff that happens at the very beginning, without which you won't be successful. What people try to do is shortcut all of that and go right to proposal, which is a bottom of funnel activity. And it does not work. No one here has ever purchased a new car because someone emailed them a pamphlet about that car, right? You become brand aware, product aware, needs aware, test drive, survey your options, make a purchase. Very similar in the sponsorship world.
Anyone else like to answer? Or do they?
Well, I look at prospecting, it has two stages. The first stage is, again, the research, where you're trying to identify categories and businesses that fit. Then you get to finding who are the contacts within those properties and businesses that you've identified. From there, that phases you into the outreach, which I consider phase 2 of prospecting. And the reason I still consider outreach part of prospecting is you don't know who has interest or not. That's why I consider prospecting a 2-phase approach. Once you have interest, then you're getting into discovery and proposals and negotiations and all of that. But I kind of look at prospecting having 2 main legs to it.
That's good. That's really good.
Something I also want to say too is, I don't know if this is answering directly to it, but don't be discouraged if they even say no this year. I mean, I have courted, I call it courting. I have courted an organization for 8 to 10 years. And finally this year I got them as a stage sponsor because I just kept being, like, hey, like, let's talk this year. Let's talk. And I mean, it's exhausting, but if you just keep at it, because even though it's a no 1 year, it does not mean it's a no the next. And even if it's a no for 10 years, it does not mean that, finally you will figure out, because I always go back to the drawing board by saying, okay, what we talked about, what I proposed didn't work. So let's talk more. Let's get some more information. What else are you guys looking for? Like, and like I said, finally it worked this year after 10 years courting. They came back and are thrilled to be back. So
amazing.
I call it the P&P approach that Candace just described. Chris, you're probably wondering where I'm going. P&P.
I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous. I'm getting over the censor button.
Pleasant, but persistent.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you are persistent. I'll give you that. That's good. Pleasant, but persistent. Yeah. I had a mentor early on who I call Travis. And he said, always believe the prospect. Always, 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 always. Not right now means not right now, not no. We don't have the budget means they don't have the budget, not no. Our cycle starts like our budget cycle starts whenever, or we have a new product coming. Like always believe them, but book a meeting from a meeting. So if they want to do it but don't have the money right now, then negotiate payment terms. And so this is similar to what Candace and Kevin are sharing, which is like, don't go away until they say, please go away.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know
I
why,
asked them
even though
too.
you might get, oh, go ahead, Candace.
No, I said, I asked him too, like, hey, like, if this is a no forever, like, you won't hurt my feelings. I don't want to bug you. And most of the time it's not, it's just no right now.
I
That's
just
really
had
good.
a sponsor last week reply to one of my inquiry emails that has been ghosted me for years. And we had a call, and I just point blank asked as we went through the conversation, I'm like, Jason, I've been seeking this conversation for years. Why this time?
Hmm.
Our marketing strategies have changed.
Nice.
Okay. So it may not be you as it is what their approach and what they're doing, right? So you never know. If you think about how many times a company's marketing strategies change, philosophies, points of emphasis, whatever the case may be, that happens a lot. That's why you need to, like Candace was saying, she stayed in touch and all of a sudden, boom, she got her a stage sponsor, is because you stayed in touch. If she doesn't stay in touch, she does not get that deal.
And you can't stay in touch if you go proposal first. You really have to talk to these people like they're your colleagues in your industry, because they are. If you and they market to the same people, then you are colleagues and you are partners in the truest sense of the word. But if you treat them like a cash waterfall who will just put logos on signs, you're not playing the long game. So if you intend to be in business in the next 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then you really have to treat people the way that we're describing here. And nobody wants to get a proposal from a stranger. That's for sure. With a few exceptions. What, Vanessa, what else you got?
There's a question that sort of ties into what you're doing about being persistent. When discouraged, how do you motivate yourself?
Oh,
Oof.
I tell you what, when I get a no, and I've had this happen before. Well, I had a current sponsor, all right, back then, I should say, they were at the time an existing sponsor, and they said no. The very next phone call, no matter what I was doing, I called their competitor.
Yeah.
I use that as the motivation, baby, all the time. I'm going to show you made a mistake.
Nice one.
Same.
Nice one. Yeah. How do you stay motivated, Candace? And do you do sponsorship as part of your volunteer work as well? Tell me that's your hobby also?
No, I'm not allowed to because we are a
Good. I
nonprofit,
guess
but
it would be a bit of
I
a,
consult is what they like to say.
yeah.
I do other aspects of my volunteering,
Nice.
but they always ask me what my opinions are. So
Yeah. So how do
I
you stay
nerd out
motivated?
about sponsorships all the time.
Yeah.
I could talk about it all day. I enjoy it. People think I'm nuts, but I do
Yeah.
enjoy what I do,
Well,
especially when I
the
get
people
that
on
yes.
this call don't think you're nuts, but the rest of the 8
Right.
billion people in the world do.
Yeah, I mean, I get told all the time, I can't believe you do this. But like when I've been, like I said, when I've been courting somebody for 10 years and I finally get the yes, I mean, I'm running downstairs, screaming in my office, super excited. And like Kevin said, I also had a past sponsor who told me no at this stage. And so as soon as they said no, it was like, I've got to fill this stage. I've got to fill this stage. So when I did, it was huge. And so I think like what motivates me is that like the moment that sponsor said no, I went to every single competitor of theirs and said, hey, we have an opportunity. There's no longer this category of a sponsor in our sponsorship inventory. Like you would, you could be the attorney sponsor, you could be the hospital sponsor, like they're no longer on board.
Nice.
And it comes to, exclusivities and stuff like that, which is a whole nother story. But I mean, that's how I motivate. And it's really just to prove people that I could do it too. Like, hey, like, we are valuable. You may not think we're valuable right now, but we are the prize. And that was said earlier. And I had to get that in my head at first to realize, like, hey, they're not doing something just for us by supporting us and making this a possibility. And we're very grateful for it, but we are providing them something too. And so it's a win-win. That I had to figure that balance out.
I love
Chris,
it.
I'm going to close the circle on the motivation of the no. So not only did I go to the competitor, I got them on board. It was on a local level, worked to regional. Now I'm dealing with their corporate office, and they have 10 times the amount that the old sponsor was doing. And now that sponsor wants back in. And guess what? The answer is no.
Hell hath no fury, like a sponsorship seeker scorn. Yes.
I still stay in touch. I mean, I'll take their phone calls because there may come a day where I need to go back to them. But for right now, I am in partnering with their competitor.
Yeah. I love that story. We don't get many of those, but when we get wins like that, that's they feel good. A friend of mine, Dermot, who owns a gym just a block away. He was talking to somebody, and they were saying, like, why should I join your gym? Why should I come to your CrossFit box? Why should I? And Dermot said, hey, let me stop you right there. I'm auditioning you because I care about my community and my gym and the people here. So let me turn the questions around, and why should I consider inviting you into our world, right? Like, yes, we're offering a service, but we're not beggars. Sales is service. And so I hit a big sales slump 4 or 5 years back, really big, really like intense, painful sales slump. And I was in a mastermind group at the time, and I'd asked the question, like, how do I get out of this? And Emmanuel, who has become a really good friend of mine, I'm in fact godfather to his newborn son. He said, take a pen and a paper and do me a favor, write down how much money you make every year from your sales efforts. And I did. He's like, cool. How many hours do you spend selling? And I did. And he's like, do the math. It's this many dollars per hour. And he said, cool. That's what you get paid to go to sales calls, whether you close or not. It doesn't matter who says yes and who says no. 1 in 4 is going to say yes, or whatever your close rate is. So once you've done that math and know that you're getting paid X, regardless of the outcome, he said, now just go be of service to people. There's no pressure. They say yes, they say yes, they say no, they say no. You know you're going to find the right person because you know your close percentage, you know the number of hours you work, and you know what you charge and what your profit margins are. And like magic, overnight, it went away because it took away all the pressure. And so in that case, the way I shifted my motivation was remembering that I'm here to serve people, not here to sell people. Do we have time for one more, Vanessa?
Yeah, we do.
We do. Oof,
make it
a really long one.
It's not a long one, but it's one that half of our clients experience. How do you get audience data when you're brand new and can't send out surveys?
Easy peasy. What do you think? Someone else? What do you think, Kevin, Candace? How do you get data for a brand new event?
I mean,
so go ahead, Candace.
I'll let Kevin do it because I came into an already established audience, and so I didn't have that issue or that.
Lucky you.
We started a new event 10 years ago. We started a new event 10 years ago. It was a running race. We didn't have any data. But there's data on people who like to run.
I bet runners would be attracted to a running event.
Correct.
That's a good start.
So,
Yeah.
so I went and did research, whether it be through running magazines, organizations, who are those people who have an interest in running? And I used that data for year one to share with potential sponsors.
Yeah.
And they understood. Yeah, it was not nearly as difficult as you would have thought.
Yeah. 3-4 years ago, we ran a sponsorship conference. First year, we had no data, of course, because it's going to happen in the future. But it is not shocking to realize that sponsorship conferences attract sponsorship professionals. And so then what do? We go in and dig into the data. And so what's really in this question is, I don't have the confidence to guarantee that I'll have these people show up. And that's a problem. That's why you need a good marketing plan, a marketing budget, and a strategy. Because sponsors, as my friend Larry, the sponsorship guy, says, are not investors. They're not here to take a chance with you. They're here to get a return on investment. So you have to be sure you're going to get these people, these types of people, and in the amount to your event. So when we were running a brand new event, our business case was focused on how we would guarantee we would sell out the conference, and not the who would come, because the theme of the event determines the who. It's the how sure can I be that you're going to bring in the right people. And then we gave everyone a great discount in year one. Right? We ran our valuation, ran our numbers, and we're like, we'll give it to you for half price. And if you come back year over year, we'll never increase the price. So we're gonna change trade some of that risk. I've since sold that conference, and those sponsors from the very first from that very first session are still with the conference. So yeah, Kevin, you nailed it. Who's gonna come? Okay, I'm gonna go learn about that audience, and then spend as much of your time, energy, and money guaranteeing you're gonna have a full house. Yep. So if you're new to our world, and or you want to become a client, and or you don't want to become a client, but maybe you kind of do, click the book a call link, watch the email for some cool promo stuff. If you're an existing client, then you already know you're amazing. But despite that, or not despite that, in addition to that, we have a cool promo that we're gonna send your way. I don't know if it's contest based or if everybody gets it, but I know alarmingly little about the goings on here at the Sponsorship Collective, but I'm told it's amazing. Kevin, Candace, you guys have like real jobs, full-time jobs, and stuff to do, and poor Bailey and Vanessa had no choice but to come here today. But the two of you have so many other things that you could be doing, and so I just want to say a big thank you to both of you, and to everyone who joined us today.
Thank you so much, everyone.
My pleasure.
Same.
Have a great
Thanks,
day.
team.